Welcome to Verbal Peak Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Look, I want to read you all the proclamation for Thanksgiving Day that was written in 1782, right? Because it was written by John Hanson. John Hanson was a black man, the president before George Washington, although over the years, somehow he had been changed to a white man. But John Hanson, well, actually, there were two John Hansons, right? And John Hanson called himself Junior purposely, really after his great grandfather, because he and another man had the same name. So the first president called himself Junior to distinguish himself from the other John Hanson who had the same name. Now, check this out. Now, this John Hanson was a Moor, black Moor. Now, we know that the Moors were in the Americas before Columbus came. Just look at Tallahassee and other states. You know, the Moors was already over here. And the Moors already had a constitution. They had the flag. They lost the war. As a matter of fact, they had lost, after they lost the war in Grenada and Spain, and after they lost that war, they also lost the war over here in the Americas, the defeat. Now, this is the official proclamation for Thanksgiving Day, which was it started on the October 11, 1782. The day of Thanksgiving took place on November 28, 1782. And it states, it being the indispensable duty of all nations not only to offer up their supplications to Almighty God, the giver of all good, for his gracious assistance in a time of distress, or going to war with the Moors, but also in a solemn and public manner to give him praise for his goodness in general, and especially for great and signal interpositions of his providence in their behalf. Therefore, the United States and Congress assembled, taking into their consideration the many instances of divine goodness to these states in the course of the important conflict in which they have been so long engaged, war with the Moors. The present happy and promising state of public affairs and the events of the war in the course of the year now drawing to a close, particularly the harmony of the public councils, which is so necessary to success of the public cause, the perfect union and good understanding which has hitherto hitherto subsisted between them and their allies, notwithstanding the artful and unwearied attempts of the common enemy to divide them. The success of the arms of the United States and those of their allies, and the acknowledgement of their independence by another European power, whose friendship and commerce must be of great and lasting advantage to these states. But the first one to acknowledge America as sovereign and states was Morocco. Wonder why they say another European power. Interesting. Do hereby recommend it to the inhabitants of these states in general to observe and request the several states to interpose their authority in appointing and commanding the observation of Thursday, the 28th day of November, next as a day of solemn thanksgiving to God for all his mercies. And they do further recommend to all ranks to testify their gratitude to God for his goodness by cheerful obedience to his laws, and by promoting each in his station, and by his influence the practice of true and undefiled religion, which is the great foundation of public prosperity and national happiness. done in Congress at Philadelphia, the 11th day of October in the year of our Lord, 1782, and of our sovereignty and independence, the 7th. So, and this was John Hanson, right? Wow. So, check this out, right? Check this out. Now, check this out. Okay, we getting there. Okay, so it says, now John Hanson, he was born April 14 or April 3rd, 1721, and he died November 15, 1783. He was a merchant and public official from Maryland during the era of the American Revolution. In 1779, Hanson was elected as a delegate to the Continental Congress after serving in a variety of roles for the Patriot cause in Maryland. He signed the Articles of Confederation in 1781 after Maryland finally joined the other states in ratifying them. In November 1781, he was elected as first president of the Confederation Congress, right, of the United States in Congress assembled. Following ratification of the article, for this reason, some of Hanson's biographers have argued that he was actually the first holder of the office of President of the United States. Right. John Hanson was born in Port Tobacco Parish in Charles County in the province of Maryland on April 14, 1721. Sources published prior to a 1940 genealogical study sometimes listed his birth date as April 13 or his year of birth as 1715. Hanson was born on a plantation. Right. This John Hanson. The one that when you'd go to your, if you knew your grandparents or great parents, you see that calendar on the wall of John Hanson's portrait, right? Hanson was born on a plantation called Mulberry Grove, right, into a wealthy and prominent family. His parents were Samuel and Elizabeth Hanson. Samuel Hanson was a planter who owned more than 1,000 acres and held a variety of political offices, including serving 2 terms in the Maryland General Assembly. John Hanson's grandfather, also named John, came to Charles County, Maryland as an indentured servant. Right. His grandfather's name was John Hanson, same name. He came to Charles County, Maryland as an indentured servant around 1661. In 1876, a writer named George Hanson placed John Hanson in his family tree of Swedish American descendants from 4 Swedish brothers who immigrated to New Sweden in 1642. Right. They go back and was like, we got to doctor up his genealogy because we got to say he's from Sweden. We can't let the world know that John Hanson was actually a black man. No. The story was often repeated over the next century, but scholarly research in the late 20th century showed that John Hanson was not related to those Swedish American Hansons. Right. They saying, hey, they finding out that this is a black man. He wasn't related to these white folks coming from Sweden. But that back in those times, they felt like they had to doctor it up because they couldn't say that the first president of the United States was black. Right. Now check this out. Little is known about Hanson's early life. He was presumably privately tutored, as was customary among the wealthy of his time and place. He followed his father's path as a planter, slave owner, and public official. He was often referred to as John Hanson Jr. to distinguish him from an older man of the same name. Right. So this dude, John Hanson, right, a Moor. You can look at his picture. Matter of fact, I'll have his picture that accompanying this particular broadcast. He gave you Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, as what we discussed yesterday with Marcus Mudd and the Moors and the connection with Thanksgiving, it's all starting to add up. But the reason why I'm doing this is to give you all key points to look up, because usually around this time of year and on Thanksgiving is where the families come together. And so when these families come together, I believe that they should really go back and have honest conversations dealing with the truths of history, not his story, what the colonizer told you or what somebody else gave you. No, you research, because how does it go? This is how it went, right? If you're about 35 on up, right, and you remember going to your grandparents' house, they were trying to, especially when you were in the country, they was trying to explain something to you about your past, right? But we were so indoctrinated in the school system and living in the city and what was going on. We didn't look at our country cousins as being significant when they actually held the key. You know, if we could have kept that unit together, we worked together. Look, well, we go in the country and get the vegetations, get the fruits, the livestock, the meat, and sell it to the city and make some money. But we disconnected ourselves with the country. Although all the recipes that your great grandmother had as far as healing things and herbs and what did what, that we lost all of that. We lost all of that trying to be like the colonizer. And so, we're trying to get it back. But I'm just saying, your grandparents and great grandparents was trying to pass down history of proven facts, because they knew that the colonizer was going to try to whitewash it, put himself in the place where black men were, and say that these wasn't black men, these was white men. They're capable of doing exactly that. Look at how it went down in the music. Black men sing the song, you had white folks covered that song and put their faces on the album cover, put their pictures on the album cover. And it's like, man, damn, don't you have no shame? But then again, they didn't see any significance in the black man. So I guess they were like, nah, we don't have no shame here. We take what we want. And that was the ideology. But I'm just simply saying that, hey, study, research who you are, build up that self-confidence, and go for the goal. It's simple as that. And we'll do everything we can to assist right here on Road Pick Radio with the guest that comes on, and we talk about different topics and subjects in a way like none other. So thank you all who tunes in, and we're not through yet. We got a lot to do, especially coming into the year 2021. This is the day, Thanksgiving Eve, and families are gathered together and they saying, hey, don't travel, watch yourself, don't get your family members sick, stay at home. And those are good precautions to take heed to, because you want to be here and you want your loved ones to be safe and whatnot. And when it gets to a point to where everyone knows someone who suffered, died, or had the coronavirus, that's when you know it's real. When it's out of your realm or your scope of things, and you heard cases of someone who knew someone, is like, yeah, but it's not really seeming real until you personally know someone who it affected or passed from it. And then that's when you say, hey, this thing is serious, it's real. We got to take all necessary precautions to sustain our lives. So, make sure you do your due diligence, research and study what to do and what not to do, and we'll keep the show rolling. I mean, We're going to keep it rolling. Matter of fact, this is the beginning of our year, though. We start early. We start gathering things and, shaping stories and headlines that we want to bring to you all in the near future. Myself and A-Tone Productions just finished the documentary on the NFAC, our journey with them in Lafayette, Louisiana. So we want to bring that to you all and keep you all posted on where you can actually tune in and watch the NFAC documentary. But until then, Vopic Radio, we're out.